Listen up.
Before you get started, Steve, this is one of the most anticipated reviews for the super unimportant reviews.
Yeah.
Why are we doing it over here? I feel like this is not a super unimportant review setup. It's more like Geek Chest setup, Steve. What's going on here?
You know, I wasn't even going to do this video anymore. Because, listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnes. And by the title, you already know what we're doing. So let's get over with this.
Recently got the Kenner aliens that came in the NECA ones. Super excited. We did a video about these figures, which here, I'll put them on the table for you. Here's the gorilla. And then we got the Mantis.
Don't break them, Steve.
Again. And the Queen Facehugger. Now, we did here's the accessories. We did a video about these guys when they first got spoiled. Couldn't tell you how excited I was for these things.
Super excited.
Not just because our channel was called Super Important. Because like, oh man, like the Kenner aliens were my childhood.
Yeah, we even did our top 10.
Yeah, between Arnes and I, we pretty much have all of them outside of the human characters and the vehicles.
Yeah.
Pretty much got everything else for them. I had a crap ton when I was a kid too. Played with them so much. I'm pretty sure I played with them more than my Godzilla figures because we had the Trendmasters at the time. And the Kenner ones were just so much cooler. Like, I was always super excited whenever my parents got me any of them. I literally wore those freaking joints on those figures to death. That and my dog ate a few of them, but that's besides the point.
Needless to say, we were beyond excited about these things.
Yes, and when NECA was like, we're making Kenner figures finally for the Alien line, sign me up. And I didn't watch anybody's reviews. I didn't look into anything on these figures. I was just like, you know what? I just won't be spoiled. I'll wait till I get them in.
We even pre-ordered them. We got these things.
Yep. This one, which even from the pictures, I wasn't that excited about that one, but we'll get into that. And Arnes got a set too. Arnes is still in the box.
I haven't opened them. And
thank God he hasn't opened them yet. Because, alright, we usually do these reviews over on Up Super Important Reviews. If you guys haven't checked it out, our channel will be linked in the description. We also have it in the little channel areas. So that's usually where we do toy reviews. These reviews are the ones that stuff went wrong. Like, the figures are bootlegs, or something came shipped in wrong, or something was awry with these figures.
Or something's damaged beyond.
Yeah, and I was doing photos, and when I got around to him, I started trying to do stuff with him, and he was already getting on my nerves. When I'm just doing pictures, I haven't done the review. When the figure is already annoying the crap out of me when I'm just trying to take photos of it, you know something's a little amiss. And I started to try to do photos with the power loader we recently got, which I actually really like that thing. And this arm right here snapped at the joint here because it was fused. Which is a pretty common problem that NECA has with some of these figures, because I feel like when they paint these figures, they just throw them in the package and ship them out. And I'm not here to scold them on their quality control. That's not what this video is about. But NECA, if you're watching this, please make sure that when they go to package these figures at whatever factory you guys are having to do that, make sure that the toy works like a toy before you put it in the package. That's all I ask. Because then this wouldn't have happened. And because that happened, I didn't really feel like doing the review anymore. And that was already after being kind of disappointed at most everything else that was going on with these figures. So we're just going to get into it. I'm going to do all three of these figures right here now.
We'll still go over them.
Sorry, we.
No, it's okay. He's a selfish. I know.
I am. Alright, so first, we will go over the Facehugger, because I feel like that is the one that...
The greatest thing ever.
I feel like has the least amount of things I have to complain about, and yet is the thing I'm going to complain about the most. Because for $20, you get Queen Facehugger here, which is just a large facehugger with some little membranes on the side of its little legs here. The legs have a little bit of articulation here at the top portion of the knee here, going down to the little fingernails. And it has a bendy wire here for the tail, which you can only really bend it here, And mine doesn't even really like the bend. It just likes to kind of go back to where it was. So it's more or less going to be sticking straight out. There's not much you can do about it. And then these arms on the front for his little hands are sticking upwards. They can articulate a little bit. And are in the exact same pattern that every single facehugger they ever do is in.
So I feel like they just did the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of been maybe nice to see a little more variety, or maybe even these could move a little bit more. And instead of making these it kind of feels like a hard resin. And it's translucent. Maybe this could actually have been like a softer, like clear rubber. And then have this actually articulate. That would have been kind of cool. Because outside of these little fingers, nothing else articulates. And he kind of just stands on the shelf. There's nothing you can really do about it. So more or less, this to me feels like a statue. And then he also comes with a little beta, which is literally in the exact same pose as that thing. So it's, again, there's not really much variety here. And has a little bendy in the tail, but has the exact same issue that I have with this one, where it's just going to be sticking straight out the entire time. But no articulation, it's just the details look cool. And the details do look pretty cool.
Like, no, they do. I like the translucent thing. I can see through it, even though you're complaining about it. Like, I like that part about it.
I like the look of it. It's just, it would be cool if like that would have articulated more.
I know what you're saying.
But, alright, so details, really nice. You guys can see like on the top section of the facehugger, looks really cool. I like the coloring. On the bottom, standard facehugger fare, where you have the little membrane that goes inside of the person in order to impregnate them.
I'm upset about this. This is not a standard facehugger. Why'd you guys make it look like standard facehugger?
Yeah, alright, getting into my complaints. This is a queen facehugger, and the original figure, which is going to be my big complaint out of each and every one of these, which is what I want the company, if they watch this, to take away from this, is I feel like they looked at the original figure and were like, okay, this is what the figure looks like. This is how we're going to make our figure. And I don't think they really thought about how to incorporate the gimmick into the look. Because each of the figures, the things I mainly remember the most about the figures outside of the design is each of their individual gimmicks. And I even own the original version of this. I still have one in the packaging. You guys have seen it on this channel. Where it has a little mouth on the front of it where you can have it stand out and shoot out. Which is really cool. That's not usually on a facehugger.
Yeah, it's a queen facehugger. It's something different.
Yeah, it's something different. It's not like the other facehuggers because it's stupid huge. And the tail could extend outward to grasp on the people, and you can also have it handing off stuff. So the tail was relatively big and did extra stuff. And I really wish they would have incorporated that stuff into the design, like had the little mouth on the front of this would have been really cool to see. Or something here with the tail to maybe incorporate the little hook more, like this was actually meant to grab onto stuff. Because it just looks like a normal alien tail.
Yeah, I can literally, at my house, I can grab it and hook it to the bigger aliens with that hook thing.
Yes, and it's really cool. And then it also could like grasp around people. Because what the facehuggers did is they grasped onto people, and that was kind of like just what they did, because it's not going to impregnate anybody with this little member on this. Like, what the heck is this thing going to do? Impregnate Godzilla?
That's a cool skit, though. Don't get us wrong.
Really cool skit. But it's not like this is going to be lashing out in anybody's face. So why does it need it? Why not give it the little mouth because it would bite on the people? Like, I feel like the queen facehugger, what it really wanted to do is grab on the people and drag it off.
I know what you guys are going to say. Well, they can impregnate the people from Prometheus, the creators, because they're so big, blah, blah, blah. No.
But, like, when you like look at the little comics and stuff, it just, like, hugs everybody.
That's what I mean.
It doesn't have anything going in the mouth. It just kind of hugs people. So I want my facehugger to hug people. And the little one, I don't know. It's the same issues, but it literally doesn't articulate. And I feel like it's just they could have done a little bit more with the design here. And even like got rid of the membranes on the side of here to make the arms a little bit more articulated and gave us those little accessories to kind of make it more harken back to the original figure. Like, I like that they try to maybe do their own little spin on it. But since it's more of a tribute kind of figure,
they should have followed it.
I feel like they should have tried to get it more closer to the Kenner than what they did here. Which this just feels like a larger facehugger. Like, to me, it doesn't feel very queenie at all. Like, it does not feel special the way it should. And also, for what you get here, I really don't feel like this is $20 worth. Like, compared to the other guys, they're fairly big aliens. The Mantis is huge. That figure's got one thing going for it. It's big. It is a big toy for $20. This, on the other hand, there's just not much here. Like, they could have gave me a second one of these. That maybe would have been more... That would probably put me where I would feel it's worth it, not just a little miniature version. Because it's a queen facehugger. Like, just give me more big guys. Because, like, when you see them in the comics, there's a ton of them. So it would have been cool to maybe have a little bit more cannon fodder, I should say. And it just feels like it was really simple just to give us a small one. Now, for the Gorilla Alien, I think the sculpt is cool. Like, overall, I wouldn't really have bashed it. Like, it's a nice looking figure. Like, I think they did a nice job for what they did. But what I have main problems with this guy is it looks more like a monkey than a gorilla. Because, again, how the original figure worked is on the side of his head, you can squeeze the side of his head and he squirted water out. Now, he didn't need to come with that. That makes sense to me. But then I would have maybe liked to have seen a bigger head and somewhere where the air sac would have been. To kind of, again, harken back to that original figure. Didn't need to do anything, but just it to be there. And then it had a gimmick where you could squeeze the back little tubes and it would grasp onto people. And for the tubes on this guy, they're super short, which I think, again, it looks fine. But I would have really liked to have seen these elongated in terms of design. And his overall upper body to have been bulked out, same with his arms. Because he's supposed to be a gorilla.
Not a monkey.
Not a monkey. And there's just nothing really here to make me feel like he has the overall size and girth like a gorilla should. Because even the arms, one thing I'll get into is this figure is mainly a heavy retool of the Warrior Alien. The original Warrior Alien from the Aliens line. To grab one just to show you guys what I'm talking about, he is heavily retooled from this guy. As you can see, the legs are the exact same with the lower part of the waist. And the front section of the here, because the body is mostly the same between the two, but they added stuff to the back to really make the size of the alien. And same with the top section of the arms. Here is the warrior, and then the forearm's different. Now, this part doesn't really bug me, although this is one of those figures I actually really like to have seen pop-eyed out.
Yeah.
Would have been cool. And then added more here to make it more bulky to really give it that gorilla appearance. Because what they got here is cool. Like, I think overall they have the right style going down for the body. It just should have been, everything just should have been more over-exaggerated. Like, these figures really needed to have been deluxes. Almost each and every one of these except for the Facehugger. I feel like really could have benefited from the slightly more bumped up price tag. And gave us just the bigger packagings and just called them deluxes.
I would have paid the extra $5, honestly. I would have.
Yeah, like about $25, $30 to make the size of him bigger, to incorporate some tubes on the side of his head, elongate the forearms. And then, his tail's actually, this is the one that I feel like is the most Kenner-esque of anything on these guys so far.
The tail does look cool.
The tail is cool. And it was a thin tail on that original figure, so it makes sense. Like, actually, I love the tail on this guy. It's just, tubes could have been bigger, back could have been bigger, forearms, head, yada, yada, yada.
Can you put him like in gorilla form, like to stand him like that?
No. At least not looking as good as I would like it to. No, that is mainly due to the problem of them using the warrior mold for the lower section here.
We're talking about gorilla alien. I want him to be, you know, like...
Yeah, because even if you look at his knuckles, they're folded in. Like a gorilla. So if you have him hunched over, you want his legs to go all the way back. And like this.
I'm going to break it, Steve.
Now this is how you have to have him sitting. Because the plastic here around his waist gets in the way. So his leg doesn't really like to go much forward than that. So you do the same here. You kind of work it. But now it's kind of getting a little weird. And then you can move his arms forward. But after posing and stuff, he's not going to be sitting exactly right on the table. Now, how this could have been solved, and again, this is just using retooling. I'm not condemning this figure because they used the warrior mold. Like, company's got assets, might as well use them. But since this is a concept figure, what I would have loved to have seen them use for this one, for the mold anyways, is actually the AVP Warrior. Like, since they have access to it, they could have just retooled this guy and used the exact same things for... Use the legs, because... Use the legs and waist anyways. Because how his joints work is there's not that rubber in the way, and his leg kind of sits on the outside a bit, so you can really get this leg into the positions you really need it to go. So with this, you would have been able to get him into his gorilla pose. That would have been awesome. And because it's a concept figure, I really don't know why you really need to be using the actual Aliens Warrior. Because since it's a concept, it's not tied to a specific alien. So, might as well, why not use the figure that has the more superior articulation?
Good question.
And you still could have kept the waist. The thicker tail actually would have been kind of cool on this, but I actually like the tail.
I like it just because it's more of the original.
Yeah, and you could even reuse these long tubes on the back here and swap them out with these ones. Again, would have been pretty cool. Now, for the figure, it does have some really cool quality still. Like, the details look really nice. It's still a very articulated figure. The head sculpt's really cool. The jaw works is actually really wide. Like, for the head sculpt, it's still neat. The mini mouth can come out. Looks really cool. Mine has a little bit of a cockeyed front here for his little gorilla face. His upper gum kind of shifts a little bit. And what's really cool about the gimmick here is you can swap out the domes and you can put a translucent dome on it. Now, I personally like the black dome more because it reminds me a lot more of the Kenner figure. But it's really cool that they gave you options, and it's not something...
We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's not something that they really needed to incorporate, but they did. And I like it. Mine doesn't sit quite flush, but some heat would fix that up real easy. And he also comes with a blue facehugger that is in the exact same position that our queen facehugger's in. And it's just, all it is a standard blue facehugger, just like what we got with the 3-packs. Now, overall, if you guys were going to buy one, this would be the one I would say to buy still. Like, for the price, I'm still not going to say, oh my god, don't get it. But there's just more here that could have been done to make this figure from just it's a okay release to an awesome release. Now, finally we have the Mantis alien.
She looks...
Big Daddy Longlegs.
Which he looks...
He's officially the coolest looking one.
Thank you.
Like, in terms of sculpt, I really have not much to complain about. In terms of sculpt. Like, I think they did a really good job of conveying the look of the original while giving it more Mantis-like feel. And...
Let me guess, you can't pull on these to make his arms move?
No. And I really like the design. The head sculpt looks really nice. His mouth opens super wide. I have a little bit of a problem getting his mini mouth to come out. It's really gripped in there. Which, again, please make sure that these figures work like figures when they come out. Really appreciate it. I really love the tubes on the side of the head aren't attached to the body in any way, so you can do whatever you want to the side of his head. Looks cool. Really like the little spine sticking up on the top of his body. And again, they use a lot of the warrior alien for this one too, because you can see in the front section here, and then it's kind of got this glued on backpack here, and everything's kind of overlapping. The waist is exactly like the warrior. Top section of the legs is mostly warrior. But then they added the gigantic feet here for the base, which would really actually help to keep this guy upright. And then the arms are pretty much all new. And then the little claws on the end are really cool, and they can articulate as well. And I like the paint job. I love the translucent plastic. It's just, this guy does not like to stand for the freaking life of me.
I do like his tail, though. His tail is different in a good way.
Yeah, with his little hook on the back here for a stinger. Really awesome. Like, I think this is the one that, like, in terms of design, I'm not gonna really I can't really say anything really negative about it. But, like the gorilla, I feel like this figure could have really used a different alien for the retooling other than the warrior. Because again, it's a concept figure, you kind of go with whatever alien you want. Now, AVP would have worked for this one too if you want to use the exact same warrior alien.
Better joints. Better
joints, and the leg issue that I'm about to bring up really wouldn't have, it would have worked fine. Or, even the dog alien. Dog alien would have worked really well too. Because the dog alien is actually meant to be hunched over. Because this guy I really wish could be hunched over. I think it would have been...
Wait, he can't hunch over?
No, because the way he's designed, he should stand like this, right? But he's just going to fall face first all the time. Unless you have him balancing with his claws, which I don't think is a really cool look. And because they use the warrior, the waist gets in the way, so you can't really bend his legs that far forward. So for me, mostly if you're going to be articulating this guy, you're going to want to stretch the legs straight as much as possible, and then having him stand upright. So he's going to be big and imposing on your shelf, but I kind of want to have him like standing a little bit more bug-like and having him in a little bit more of a menacing pose, which you can't really do with the articulation that is provided with this figure.
Oh, I can hear that noise.
Next, you may notice that my warrior alien waist articulation.
He seems heavy top.
He is very top heavy, so this ball joint is a huge issue. It does feel like it's a little too loose on mine. But what would have been nice there is if they would have incorporated some kind of ratchet joint in his waist. So then it could have been like click, 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 click. And it would have helped to really hold that in. Because with these giant claws, I don't imagine anybody is eventually going to have this problem with this figure. With it just being a ball joint.
That's pretty bad.
And having a ratchet joint there really would have helped solve that issue. And I really don't have much to complain about for the joints for the claws here. They work overall pretty well. I can't do this one because I had to literally glue that one back in. But you can. You're supposed to be able to bend them like so. This can bend here as well, which is really nice.
His claws are amazing, though. I can't get over that part.
His claws are cool. His knee, on the other hand, feels like they put a ratchet joint in there, which is really nice. And it kind of works. Though mine, it still will pop back out, but it helps. It does help. But they didn't put one back here. This is just a hinge joint. So even though when you stand it up, everything likes to, again, lean forward because he's really top heavy. So he's going to be face planting a lot. Which, for the lanky joints and the issues I've had, kind of scares me a little bit.
His feet are okay.
Yeah, so you can see here, mine really likes to bend here. It's not mainly at the knees, but
At the second knee?
it's an issue. Yeah, at this little second knee. Which is my problem, too, because it's cool that it has all these articulated joints, but when you can't really pose it in only certain situations, what's the point?
Defeats the purpose.
Yes, and also this figure really would have benefited, I feel like, from a stand. Like most alien figures, this one I feel like should have came with some sort of stand so you can have them leaning forward a little bit and then have it support so then you can have them kind of like standing like this.
That is a cool pose right there.
Would have been really cool. Or even have him hunching over a little bit because he's a bug. It should look kind of weird in a praying mantis. Or even inclusion of extra legs, which would have bumped up the cost. Again, would have appreciated this guy maybe being considered a deluxe. Came with a couple extra little things to really fix up the figure.
I would have paid extra.
And again, yeah, for the name Kenner on an alien figure, I will pay a little extra for certain things to be perfect. So again, the figure of this one is, the sculpt's really cool, but the articulation, again, some of the design choices, not as good as they could have been. Again, the figure's kind of, even though mine broke, I'm not going to bash it too much because, again, I feel like it's the risk you kind of take sometimes with these. But with some added design choices, could have took a figure that was just, to awesome. And then he also comes with a little chest burster, which is really cool. It's black and green. It's mainly what you got with the creature pack, the one with the tubes. Is exact same, a little chest burster. So we already technically have a version of these, but it is neat that it comes with these, just like the original ones. So I do appreciate that. They also each came with their own little Dark Horse comics too, that were literally like the other ones, which has pretty much been spoiled that I'm pretty sure we're getting a rhino.
I'm still going to get it.
Yeah, that's one of those... I would be excited. And to conclude this review, I feel like if you're going to want to buy these, you're still going to buy them, no matter what I say. Like, they look cool. Personally, these are one of those purchases. I'm not going to really say don't grab them, but there's something that I would actually more prefer to keep in the package. Which is not the way I like collecting stuff, which is what really hurts them for me.
For me, like, it doesn't matter too much because in my case, I am going to keep them in the packages just because what I seen from Steve's. I'm actually afraid to open mine.
Yeah, it's like the articulation is pretty standard fare for them using the Warrior mold, which the Warrior is a pretty solid figure. But when you start adding extra stuff to the figures, it kind of starts hurting things. Like, the Warrior design was not designed to work like this. So, I would much prefer them to use other aliens if they were going to be retooling anything. Which would have been nice to see them each have their own individual molds. But I can't really bash them for that because I understand they're a company. If you got assets, might as well use them.
Yeah, which breaks down to if the Rhino does come out, what mold are they going to use for it, you know?
That one, I hope they use a mold. And what I want to take away from this video, more so than a review, is more of like a little letter to NECA, just explaining what I would really love to see them do for future lines. What I really would love them to do is to embrace the gimmick more so than what they are with these figures right now in terms of the design. And also, again, use other assets for these figures. Because, again, if you're going to retool, use better figures. Because it's a concept figure. It doesn't really matter which one you're going to use. So you might as well use a figure that's more suited for each of the characters.
Yeah, because it's the gimmick parts that I remember as a child. It's the gimmick parts is the reason why I'm buying them, you know?
Yeah, so it would be nice to see them incorporate a little bit more. The Mantis is probably the best in terms of overall design, I feel, with the Facehugger probably falling the most flat. I feel like, especially with the AVP figures you guys have been putting out, and that increasing and being easily the best aliens you got in the line, these feel like a step down.
Which they should have been the step up.
Yes. So if you guys want to take our opinion and help to incorporate them into the next line of Kenner aliens that you're doing, would highly appreciate it. But what do you guys think of the Kenner aliens? Please let us know in the comment section below if you guys picked up any of them, if you guys have better experiences with them as I do, or if you guys just really would much prefer to have just normal aliens. Please let us know in the comment section below. And we'll also have closer pictures on our website if you want to click the link in the description below as well. As I got the majority of them set up, I'll probably do some extras with the Mantis here and what I was going to do with them doing their little fight scenes now that this glue's dried. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.